don't just play solo, you play with a band.
Mm-hmm.
What are the pros and cons of having a band?
Well,
that was like an interesting sigh. I was like, like
yeah. Well, it's hard because I initially was playing with like all my best friends, and then like it gets hard to do that because you are afraid to hurt people's feelings if you're playing with your friends. So it's a weird mix between like a business relationship and a personal relationship. So I'm like trying to get away from that. But in general, like perks of having a band, everything just like hits way harder. Like songs, as long as you...
It's different.
Yeah, exactly. Like as long as the parts are there and like people know their shit. Am I allowed to say shit on this?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think you dropped the F word like 4 times already. So yeah.
Like, yeah, it sounds amazing, but also you're putting your music into other people's hands, and sometimes it's hard to get exactly what you want, especially when you don't know how to specifically voice it. That was something I had trouble with, was like learning how to tell people exactly what I want from my music. And then like you have to make sure that they get paid, or at least like feel okay about not getting paid if it's not a paid gig. You have to like try to compensate them in some way. Playing solo, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So
I know what you're talking about with the friends thing, though, because I played with my friends for a while. And sometimes, like, creative pride can kind of get in the way. Because it's like, oh, I wrote this part. And the other person's like, I don't really think it fits.
yeah.
And it's like, why not? And
Yeah.
it's like,
And then it becomes
because,
personal.
yeah. And it's not even like that it's, like, bad or good. It's just that, like, this person grew up listening to all these artists, and you grew up listening to all these artists. So, like... There's like this disconnect.
Yeah. Making sure everyone has the same like idea
Yeah.
in mind
Yeah.
for a sound.
Just the same, yeah. Everybody on the same wavelength, which is
Yeah.
kind of hard. And then, you know, one of my bandmates, shout out Chris Meyer, he is playing bass with this band, Annie in the Water. And he said that they're like the best bandmates ever because everything is like a business. Like you show up, we play, don't bring drama to the gigs. Don't like, you know, get too drunk or whatever because, you know, if you're playing in a band with your friends, that sometimes is a factor, especially when you're playing like smaller shows at like house parties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Getting too drunk to play your part.
Yeah. Or like playing it, but like not playing it all that well. Or like if you're
playing it out of time.
singing, yeah. And then everybody kind of has to like match your time. Yeah. It's not good.
But yeah, I feel that for sure.
Or if you're on some sort of stimulant playing your part too fast.
Nice.
sort of stimulant.
Yeah. Lots of coffee. Yeah, but yeah, I really appreciate you saying that because it's something that a lot of musicians, like when you first start, you usually start with your friends, right? You're always like, hey, let's make a band, let's play.
Yeah.
But you got to really kind of come at it from like a business perspective.
Yeah, that was something I had to learn because it was the first time I ever played in a band, I guess. Like, and I wrote all the songs, and I just brought them to them, and they arranged them. You know, I didn't know how to arrange stuff, so it was an interesting, unique process. But yeah.
That makes sense. So what do you mean by you didn't know how to arrange them? Like you had just like all the different segments kind of like and the bassist would be like, I think this would be better here, you know. So
it was
so
more like I had the song written and I would play them just by myself on guitar and vocals. So just solo. And then trying to find like where keys would fit in, you know, and like what the drum beat was going to be and like what Joe was going to play on guitar when I'm already playing guitar, you know, like filling things and then writing a bass line. Like, I don't know how to do that, you know. Well, now I could be better at it, but like at first I just had no idea what the songs were supposed to sound like. Yeah. So that I had the songs and the parts were all there and they were set songs, but just like putting other instruments on them.
And the other thing is using space, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because when you're a solo artist, you almost have to always be filling space.
Right.
But when you're playing with full band, you're like, oh, I don't have to play for these 4 bars because it would sound better.
Dial it back. Yeah. And think about the song. Oh my God, that's such a huge thing that like a lot of people that study jazz and like get out of jazz school and they're like, I'm going to play the sharp 11. I'm going to play all these freaking notes that like don't sound good. But so like, I guess learning to play for the song and not just because you can play those things.
Yeah.
Like not to showcase yourself.
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like jazz artists specifically, though, because they just want to
Well-
be like, and then you're like, okay, like,
Yeah, but also
how's
like
anybody gonna dance to this?
other people. True.
Yeah.
True.
Oh yeah, other people too, for sure. But jazz, like, there's just so much music theory that they're like ODing on it almost.
Yeah. Yeah. Sick.
Yeah, you're into it. You're like, fuck yeah.
Kinda. I think it almost like takes away your ability to write